to be an elite athlete, you have to be pretty selfish, and that's really difficult for some partners, right?
Being able to apply, like just fill in holes where you know your blind spots that you don't really think about, and having a partner that's supportive in that, and then also just being able to learn and kind of test things in safe ways was really fun.
You have to commit a amount of yourself to what you're doing if you want to be really good at it. And with Zoe, I never felt like I had to compromise my training, and I never felt like she felt that I was doing that to her.
Today's guests are Olympic level, literally. Cam Stone's a Canadian bobsled bronze medalist, and Zoe Hickel, a two-time world champion with Team USA Hockey. And this episode isn't just about winning medals. It's about what happens when two high performers build a real-life partnership that works behind the spotlight. And we'll dive into their habits, their decision models, and what it takes to grow side by side on and off the podium. Cam and Zoe also happen to be personal friends and two of the best people you'll ever meet, and it is an absolute privilege to have them on the show today. Zoe, Cam, welcome to Coachable.
Thank you, Philip.
Thanks, Philip.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So in the intro, I provided a little bit of background, but for those who might not be familiar with your story, Zoe, why don't you begin? Tell us a little bit about your on-ice exploits, your background as an athlete, and then we'll get started. Yeah.
I like that we're doing this together because she's going to give you like the Wikipedia version, and I'm just going to fill in where she's not going to.
Perfect.
So, go ahead.
That's exactly what we need.
Well, I grew up, I was born and raised in Anchorage. I grew up playing mostly with boys at that point. That's kind of where the direction that I went in and the resources that we had. So grew up in that type of direction. Then when I was in high school, I went off to a hockey academy in Vermont, and then from there was always involved with some of the USA hockey camps, and just kind of got picked up nationally along the way. I got to play at U18 World Championships, and then went on to play Division I college hockey at Minnesota Duluth. How am I doing?
You're doing good. I haven't had to interject yet.
Towards the end of my time at Duluth, I got picked back up with the U.S. national team, and then was lucky enough to play at a world championship and play on the national team there for a couple of years.
She won 2 world championships, so I got to start interjecting.
Won 2 world championships.
Yeah.
And after college, played, which was the first professional league that they introduced, and things have evolved and changed and are much better now for the girls. But we were in the NWHL at that time. There was a Canadian league and a U.S. league. So the new U.S. league had just started just after I graduated. So played in Boston for a couple years with that league, and we had like a core group of our national team that was based out of Boston, which was nice. So it's like we were playing on our pro teams, but then we're able to play train as a group and have a solid group there as we were through that quad for the 2018 Olympics. And then when 2018 Olympics came around, I did get cut from that team, but I was lucky enough to get another opportunity to play in China, which seemed crazy at the time. But there was a team that got picked up over there where they were bringing in U.S. and Canadian players to kind of help develop, since they were hosting the 22 Olympics, help develop their Chinese national team. And so we had a professional team that was split of U.S. national players, Chinese national players, and then Canadian and U.S. players. And we were kind of sports ambassadors with them and played with them and in the Canadian league. So we were back and forth from China, but based out of there. And that experience alone, like really, got me back on purpose and kind of redefining what hockey was for me, and get an opportunity to kind of get outside of yourself, and especially coming down from just like getting cut from the Olympic team, and that team ended up winning a gold medal, which is amazing. Just being part of that whole quad was an amazing experience, and still very close with a lot of people from those years. But
If you're enjoying this conversation so far, please remember to like and subscribe to this channel. That helps us out a lot. And if you want the model from my conversation with our guest, check out the link in the comments below. Now let's get back to it.
Yeah, playing in China was its own ballgame. And brought back a dog, which was fun.
She's not referring to me. She's not referring to me.
No, I was going to say.
Yeah. So
Found Cam walking on the side of the road, and there we go.
That was 4 years later. That's what I was doing. But
and then the year after, I ended up coming back to North America and still playing in the Canadian Women's League. Things had changed where the level had kind of moved towards the Canadian League. So that one was like heavier.
Mm-hmm.
Played with a lot of the national team players on the U.S. and Canada. So went to Calgary and played on the team base in Calgary. And that's where I ran into this guy. We went fishing and the rest is history.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
the rest is history.
You're skipping. Sorry, Phil, go.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, you were good from a young age. I mean, it was clear you had athletic and sporting talents that were going to take you someplace. Right? Is that fair?
I don't know.
No doubt. Yeah. And not just in hockey, Phil, but she was a really good skier too.
Yeah.
So I think you can feel free to interject on your own story here if you want, but I think she came to a point where, it was either ski racing, downhill ski racing, or hockey.
Yeah.
And, pretty impressive that someone from Alaska is a small hockey market. We're not in Minnesota. We're not in Toronto.
Yeah.
So to be at that level in women's hockey here is exceptional. There's no question.
Yeah.
It was a fun little journey, but
fun journey. But I mean, the habits around high performance were, you started learning those habits early.
Yeah. I was very lucky to be raised in a household with a very strong mother who, I mean, she led me to all the things that I had to work towards, but she gave me the opportunities that I was just very lucky to be put in positions where I could go after the dreams I wanted to and the goals I wanted to, and was provided a great foundation for that, but knew that I had to work for it. And it was like, if you had 6 a.m. practice and the car wasn't started for at least 15 minutes to make sure it's nice and warm in the morning, and the dishes were clean and my homework was done, whatever, the night before, it's like, and I wasn't waking her up. It's like, I was never the one, like if I wasn't waking her up and having things ready to go, it's like I wasn't getting a ride to practice. So little things like that, I think were the reason that, people probably would say that my mom was hard on me and that's why I made it far or whatever. But I think a lot of those years, I think she did a great job of just putting it back to me to say, like, if you want to make it to this level, these are the types of habits and these are the kind of things you have to do it. And so it was put back on me at a very young age, and I loved it and wanted to do it. And I feel very grateful for that.
Yeah. And Cam, you started bobsleigh because apparently there was not an opportunity in your preferred path in the world of banking and high finance didn't turn out.
That's right. Thank God, Philip. Holy smokes. Yeah.
So Sherry, how did you, I mean, you don't grow up, I guess most people don't grow up competing in bobsleigh. You're doing other sports,
For sure.
Right? So what's your story?
So I grew up outside of Toronto, huge hockey community. I grew up playing hockey. When I got to high school, I started to play football. I played rugby. I played volleyball. I stopped playing hockey because I had this opportunity with rugby. It was really popular at my high school, and I thought I'd love one day to compete for my province. We call them provinces, and I guess we might be the 51st state soon. So those
51st, call them states.
We called
now,
it a province back then, and so I really wanted to play for my province. And the cool thing about rugby was that everyone was starting at the same level. And so, whereas with hockey, if you're not ingrained in it, and like if you're not really good by the time you're 10 years old, where I come from, you're not going anywhere with it. And so get to high school, 15, everyone's kind of at a level playing field. And I just really seemed it was a good match in terms of size, speed, power, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. And so I got on the Ontario team, my province, and then I got on the Canadian junior team the following year, so when I was like 17. And then from that point on, I wanted to just go full throttle with rugby. So I chose the university I went to based on rugby. I continued playing for the Canadian national team at the under 20 level. And then playing for my university, I was kind of coming near the end of my university career. And there were some guys training at my university who were football players who played either in the Canadian Football League or some of them played in the NFL too. And these guys had made the transition to bobsled. And so I knew nothing really about bobsled. I knew as much as everyone does, which is cool runnings. And so I would watch these guys train, and like I thought it was so cool that they would, they just do a ton of Olympic lifting, a ton of sprinting. They're all just like such good runners. And I remember thinking like, I would love to do that. Like I'm playing rugby right now where I'm expected for 80 minutes to like give a high output. How about like 3-4 seconds of high output and like get as strong and fast as you can? And so when I was finishing my degree, like you said at the beginning, I was working at a bank, and I thought I was going to do what everyone else in Toronto did. It was either you went to the NHL and played hockey, and I'd washed out of that dream by the age of 10. So or I was going to go move to Toronto and go, just do that, do that life, commute for an hour each way. And and I really didn't want to do that. And so I did my responsible thing first. I went and tried to interview for a job in Toronto. And so I had the bank that I was working at set up a even bigger boy job downtown. And I got to the interview, and I borrowed a suit, got to the interview, and the recruiter didn't show up. And like I'd arranged this meeting, and I was so upset that this person it made no time for me. And I'm like, you know what? This is exactly like what I don't want to be doing. So meanwhile, when I'm back at my university, some of my strength coaches are like, Cam, you should go to do one of these bobsled combines. You'd be a good fit for it. You're tall, you can hold weight, and I think you can run fast. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. I started training a little more attentively for bobsled, and then I went and did one of these recruiting combines. So they test your power clean, they test your sprint, they test your front squat, they test your med ball throw. And I checked enough boxes that they asked me to come down to Lake Placid and do the sport. And so I remember when I found that out, I'm like, this is so cool, going down to Lake Placid, this legendary place that I've never been to Lake Placid. And I on that drive home, I was just so excited about it and like just kind of rejuvenated by this new opportunity, because rugby had been awesome to me, and I got to travel the world with it. And it was just really taking a toll on my body, and my shoulders were kind of blowing up. And it was either at the point where I was like, either going to go bank or go play rugby full time. And I'm like, well, one of those is going to hurt my body a lot more than the other. So ended up going home. I watched Cool Runnings to learn what I can about bobsled. And then
excellent training.
A couple weeks later, I got an invitation to come and actually compete in a America's Cup race. So like the development level. Went and did that. I loved it. It was terrifying at first. And like, I don't think you ever lose that fear of like doing it. It's intense. And so immediately I just felt like I was like back in the swing of things with sport. I was motivated by it. The lure of the Olympics was huge. And I kind of came in at a good point in this cycle where I was like, I had 3 full years to train and hopefully get on, like solidify my position in the team, and was able to do that. Or I guess I just jumped ahead there. I moved out to Calgary to try to get on the national team. So I packed up my little Saturn, drove out to Calgary, and then just kind of set up shop there, and then kept testing with the team. Got on the development Canadian team that fall. That winter I got on the World Cup team. And then I stayed on the World Cup team until the Olympics, got to go to the 2018 Olympics on the third sled. And it was amazing. That whole Olympic experience was incredible. And then I went back for a second quad and kind of had the same group of guys that I moved through with. And by that point, we were the top sled in Canada. And then, I mean, we went into the Olympics ranked second in the world. So we had an awesome quad and went in ranked second in the world in 4-man, and then ended up finishing third. So that was huge. And it was great. It was very fulfilling.
You may have, well, first of all, I was hoping you would have pushed the Saturn to Calgary as a training sled. That would have been,
so many hills,
a sign of real commitment.
Yeah.
You may have just answered the question, but if we had at your peaks, if we had traded places, who would have had the more successful career? Zoe, you in the sled, or Cam, you playing hockey?
I always think that you would have been such a good hockey player. He's like built to be a good hockey player. Like you,
thank you for saying that.
Your
But
size, you have an NHL style slap shot. You do
slap
have
shot.
that going for you.
No, it was no, and you'd have been a good bobsledder. But sorry,
Yeah, I don't know.
Unfortunately, you're probably too small.
Yeah, I think
you're
would have
probably
had
too small.
Better chance at hockey.
Yeah.
Better chance out there.
Yeah.
I did jump in one of the
awesome.
sprint days with you guys just to see how fast I could.
Yeah.
To see if I could make the standard. I just can't
make
anywhere close. The only thing I could probably do is run the standard.
Run.
But lifting, like what those girls lift, no chance.
Yeah.
I would be smashed. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, everything about that sport is interesting and terrifying all at the same time.
It really is. Yeah.
So obviously, I mean, you guys are both highly successful. You're used to high pressure, right? I mean, you've experienced real moments of real intensity, right? So what's it like being with someone who understands that?
I think, Philip, so I met Zoe right as we were going into the second Olympic quad I was going into. And at that time, she was still playing hockey, and I was still obviously really deep and committed to bobsled. And I think just like, so that first year I met her, and we just came off World Championships. I'm like hanging out with Zoe now full time, and just seeing her approach to training. And it was, I think, the things outside of sport that really resonated with me, like how does an athlete really live outside of it? Bobsled's pretty easy in terms of like you don't have to be. I didn't have to be super careful about my diet. It's like my main objective was be as strong and as heavy as you can. And for me, it's like I can achieve that pretty easily. But Zoe brought this whole other element of like, what does a healthy lifestyle look like, and just a different commitment to training. And just briefly touch on like that summer I came up to Alaska and would do stuff with her, and like I think I bubble wrapped myself so much around like I need to be awesome at training, and like I cannot do anything outside of that that's gonna like make my legs sore or something. I think Zoe really changed my mindset of like just being a little tougher, and that's honestly something that is that through those three further years of the quad was super valuable for me, and continues to be now.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah, you are tough. You're tougher now, huh?
I definitely am tougher now than when I was a Toronto City kid.
Yeah, sure. All I had to do was bring him up to Alaska.
Bring him up to Alaska. That's all it takes.
You grow a mustache, you get tougher.
Yeah, just brought him down to Mount Marathon to test his character.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, how about you, Zoe? For you, what was it like having a partner that understood the pressures of world-class athletic performance?
Yeah, it was really special to be able to share, like in different sports too, but to be able to have like that pursuit of excellence and the lifestyle that you want to live, and to learn from each other and see like, the little habits that he had. He was really disciplined in certain areas. I think that I picked up more like heat and cold exposure type stuff, and introduced more of that to my training and my regiments. And then also the sprinting. Like I learned a lot of sprint mechanics from him during the year in Calgary, and arguably probably the best year of hockey I ever had, like as a player, like really performed well and had a good season, and learning and I think just being supported in that way and being able to finish that season. But then, well, what I didn't get to was after that year, that league actually folded. And so I ended up going and playing in Sweden for one more year before I ended up coaching at OSU. But through all of that, I was still doing Zopro, which was my personal like training and coaching business. So I've always been very interested in that. And I think just picking up things from him and being able to apply, like just fill in holes where your blind spots that you don't really think about, and having a partner that's supportive in that. And then also just being able to to learn and kind of test things in safe ways was really fun.
I think as well, Philip, what kind of pops up to me is to be an elite athlete, you have to be pretty selfish, and that's really difficult for some partners, right? It's like you have to commit an amount of yourself to what you're doing if you want to be really good at it. And with Zoe, I never felt like I had to compromise my training, and I never felt like she felt that I was doing that to her. And so a good example is we got married, and I think we got married and pretty much spent the next 3 months apart because I was on tour and
I was in Sweden,
and you went over to Sweden because your league folded. So she went over to Sweden to play hockey. So it's like we knew what we were signing up for, and I never ever felt like I had to compromise what I was trying to achieve. And I knew that Zoe felt the same way. It's like if she still had ambitions to get back with the U.S. national team and go to the Olympics for hockey. Unfortunately, that didn't play out. But she knew that we were both like fully in on like, hey, we've got this really small window of time to be awesome at what we're doing, but we're not going to be able to do that if we don't put everything into it. And that was like never even a conversation of like, hey, should we not be doing this? Like it'd be fun to hang out with each other more, but it's like it worked out pretty ideally.
Time zone.
Yeah, it would be fun to hang out together, but we understand what each of us are trying to do.
Yeah, and there would be. I mean, we FaceTimed a lot, but there would be plenty of days that we just didn't get to talk. Or like I'd miss him on the day or in the morning, and it's like. If you missed like a window, then it's like, hey, he's going to be at the track all day and I'm going to sleep. So like whatever it is. And it was just, that's a really good point is that there wasn't like that excess pressure or worry. It was just that we knew what we were driven to do at that time and supportive of each other.
Yeah. How has your definition of success changed since you've been together?
That has evolved, huh?
I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think kind of in the same conversation we're just having, it's like I knew that we were making all these sacrifices to go pursue our selfish pursuits. And I just felt like if I don't accomplish what I'm trying to do, I don't want to finish the Olympics and have finished fourth. And like, and have felt like Zoe gave up all this time with me. I gave up all this time with Zoe. I'm not working like, I'm an amateur athlete. I'm not really financially progressing towards my future if I don't get a medal, essentially. And so it's like there's a tremendous amount of pressure that I felt that, hey, you got one shot at this, you better make it worth it.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool because when COVID happened, like that was the year after I was in Sweden, and you still had, I mean, it was really scary to be like, is the Olympics gonna happen? And then it was like the Summer Olympics and all of that, and like the landscape of everything had changed like leading up to that last. So then you're like, okay, I knew at that point I was done with my playing career, and that's when I switched to coaching. So, but because I knew he was like still in the heat of this Olympic cycle and that quad, I was, I got an opportunity to coach at Ohio State, and it was the same kind of thing where like, okay, we're still on this kind of journey right now. I'm still going to like do my thing and maybe pursue some different things, but knowing that it was because he was still in this in this cycle to go to the Olympics, and that was the best way that I could support that. But I feel like the definition of the success has changed over the years, but it's there's been different pressures at different times to be able to execute like the goals that we've wanted, and there's no doubt that I feel like full in my heart knowing that we were able to do what we did at that time to be able to be where we are now, and don't feel like we're behind in any way, but fulfilled and being able to go after those goals and at a very, very small window in your life.
Yeah. You allowed each other the space to go all in.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And I think we still do for sure, Philip. Like, you know, I want to see Zoe do awesome in her career and outside of that too with goals she has. And I think she probably hopefully feels the same way about me. And
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. What is the mechanism you use to resolve conflicts when, or how do you decide like when one goal takes priority over another? Understanding that, you know, you're going to try and accommodate as best you can, but inevitably, you know, there'll be moments where there's some conflict, there's some scheduling change, whatever it is. How do you two resolve it when you both come to the table with something that feels important to each of you separately?
right.
Yeah. I think it's probably oversimplifying it, but the biggest thing that I just feel like our communication from the get-go has been very much on the table and forthcoming with the things. Like we don't really hold back on the we're very transparent with what we want to do and how that might, you know, how might that affect the other person too, but working together on, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And since our athletic careers have kind of ended and we've now have more of a big kid jobs through insurance and consulting, and it's just been an interesting transition to also like have freedom in other ways. Like our evenings and weekends aren't dedicated to like the sport and traveling and, you know, having to like give all that time that you have to the sport. So now we get to be a little more flexible with what that extracurricular is. And it's actually kind of fun. Like we just signed up for like our first half triathlon.
Yeah.
Just because we're like, oh, this could be fun. But we also have a little baby on the way.
Well, to be clear, Zoe, that's also a high level athletic pursuit, right?
Well, I think that's really, Phil, going to be kind of our first real test. And since we've been really competitive athletes, it's like, so we've got a kid coming in a couple weeks, and that's going to present some challenges for sure. But up until this point, we do pretty much all our training together. And but honestly, it's never like, hey, there's no real give or take. It's like we're either both training or like, I can't train right now, you go ahead and do it. But as so we've got a half Ironman in December, and like I've never done a triathlon, and like I don't know, I have no idea. I have no idea how that's going to work out, because it's going to be like, hey, I need to bike 50 miles today. Can you watch the kid? And like she's going to be on the same program, so it's going to to if you do this podcast again in a year from now,
we might be
I was going to say we're going to do episode 2. Yeah, that's right.
Throwing a little one in the mix is going to change the game.
That's right. Yeah. And that might, episode 2 might be more in a more appropriate time to ask the question that got me thinking about is how did you resolve it, or what did you do to maintain that open level of communication when one was thriving and one was not?
Well, how did you feel like, I mean, you could talk about like the changes after the Olympics and just moving, you know, like moving to a different country, different place, and how, you know, how you had to kind of reevaluate what that looked like.
Yeah, I think when I finished competing in bobsled and I was going through the process of getting my residency in the U.S. and like I didn't know what I was going to do for work, and Zoe was working at Ohio State, and then she was in Palm Springs, and so it was just kind of like bouncing around with her and like honestly feeling a little lost. And Zoe, I don't know, you just never like. I don't know if it's because she'd gone through the transition of like going from athlete to coach, like to not athlete so fast, and like there was really no mourning period for Zoe. She just kind of like, I really admired the fact that she just kind of, it's like, all right, hockey's done because of COVID, essentially. And now she's going to go coach at a Division I program and then win a national championship. It's like, there was no slowdown, right? And so I really admired that.
Probably masked it, to be honest.
Maybe, maybe.
That probably what got me through it.
But I don't know. So for me, like to finish my sporting career, and then like I came up to Alaska, and Zoe didn't come up for another like another 6 months or something. That was challenging. Just trying to like figure out who I am. What do I do? I've got a 9-to-5 job now, and I'm in new surroundings. I don't have a network here. And she just supported me through it. So it's like, it never got to the point of real conflict. It was like, I don't know if she just knew kind of what I was going through, and because she'd been there.
Yeah. Do you see it? Is that how you would describe it, Zoe?
Yeah.
You knew what he was going through.
I did, and it was I did, and obviously he had won a medal at the Olympics, and then it was like the dramatic change in your life and drop off from like that high to low, and you hear a lot of about a lot of athletes that go through that when they're high achievers, and just to see what that looks like, and to be I was sensitive to it because I did go from playing right to OSU and was lucky enough in my second year there to win a national title. Obviously, a lot of work had been done leading up to that point for me to be there and step in. But I do think that transition was almost easier, much easier than yours, I think, because I was still in the game. I was still very much in the game, same schedule, same type of goal-oriented seasons and all of that. So it was a change in my personal playing career, but having that and then working our way west. Once you were here, I was in Palm Springs for a bit, but then working my way back to Alaska. That was where we wanted to
finding your way home.
Yeah.
And I think hearing that too, like it reminds me of, so we've been athletes for however many years, and it's like your year kind of always looks the same, right? It's like you've got your summer, your training, you go into the fall where you start competition, you compete through the winter, spring you kind of have a little bit of a break, and then you go back into training in summer. And so when Zoe and I felt pretty lost until Zoe came back up, and it was like we were, I don't know, like we were discovering this whole new fun life we'd had together, and like all that time that we'd not been able to spend together, that we'd made these selfish choices to be apart. Now it's like, we get to go hike in the mountains anytime we want. We get to go mountain bike. We can go fish. We can go hunting in the fall. And like to start to build that routine together was awesome. And it's like, I don't know. It was a good, like at that point I started to really enjoy the transition, and then it's kind of opened another world for us of new goals, and like just so we're so keyed in on whether it's skiing, and then now we're into mountain running, and now we're getting into triathlons. It's cool. It's like we've transitioned from being semi-pro amateur athletes to just like totally recreational athletes. But I feel like
it's so fun though.
It's still so fun, and it just gives us so much energy to do that. And because she just motivates me to keep moving forward, set goals.
Okay. So that is still, that's still a conscious part of what your life looks like.
We were talking yesterday about the little guy coming in. I said to Zoe, I'm like, hey, we have to write down all our lifetime PRs while we still remember them, so that we can tell our kid, like, hey, your mom's record in bench press is 135 for 10 reps. Like, so you missed your tough guy, you're 135 for 5, and
that's a good start, but still not as good as your mom.
Exactly. So
it's fun to see the change of what that is, like, what is life, and like what do your goals look like, and how does that change from being an elite athlete into being working normal jobs, and like still wanting to be goal oriented, and having that, like, that little itch of being able to compete. And I think we're both competitive people, and it's really cool to not like we're competitive together, but I think it's a really good balance where it's supportive. Like we wake up early, and we have really good habits in the morning, and I feel like it helps us set our day. So, we usually waking up around 5, and then he makes me a coffee. So that's like number one.
Good man.
So yeah,
Mhm.
coffee's ready by the time and lately it's been, we just go for a walk because that's as much,
Yeah.
I can do. So we try to stay
Yeah.
consistent with like a walk and then either like a stretch and a little lift at home and then go
Yeah.
about your days. And so I think for us, like having some structure around some of the things that we control and,
Mhm.
being there for each other in that way where it's like, maybe some days I'm a little more sleepy and he's like, oh, so
Yeah.
we're getting up, and then turns the light on. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm up. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it helps
Yeah.
to keep those habits and, going to bed a little bit earlier too. Just being on the same
Yeah.
schedule that way can help just stay the course.
Okay. So the goals have shifted, but the process of goal setting, the process of having systems, following, being habitual about certain things, that hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
Is your process now for like goal setting, is that organic, or are you as purposeful about goal setting now together as you were when you were pursuing your athletic careers? Like, do you sit down and chart it out, or do you let it happen?
Well, we were kind of talking about that recently, how we're like, everything was so ingrained in, like for hockey, it was like, you want to play on the national team and you want to go, like you want to make that squad and go to the Olympics and win a gold medal. Like, and for you, it's the same thing. It's like
Yeah.
national team winning winning at
Yeah.
the Olympics. And so those were like goals that were just, and obviously you have little steps in between of like smaller goals, but it was just so clear and so ingrained in you at the time that it's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like you didn't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
But now
Yeah.
we have a little more freedom in what we can choose to do. And so I think, I don't know if that answers your question.
I think, Philip,
but-
so we kind of like set our sights on different things in the year. And so whether that's a
Yeah.
mountain race, that's kind of been the focus lately. And now this triathlon, but it's like, there's things that we've always talked about doing. So a triathlon is definitely one of those. And
yeah,
I think it's just got to the point where we're like, okay, let's do that. And then we're very intentional about how we're gonna get there. And
Yeah.
it's like I feel more now like because I have a job and because I don't have all day every day to train. It's like I have to be very
Mhm.
I have to be very diligent with my decision making to make sure that I can do the things I want to do. And that's by doing things I want to do. I'm talking about either running or lifting weights, whatever.
Mhm.
And I think just that ability to work that into my schedule is something that I've really picked up from Zoe, and like kind of back to where we started saying, like, you can be a little tougher than you think you are. And like, I don't need these ridiculous training availabilities to be able to achieve these things. So it's fun. I enjoy the challenge of it. It's like, it's made me work a lot harder to just make sure, like Zoe said, the mornings I don't want to get up to go, get up early to like get that time in to do something. You just have to do it.
Yeah. You have to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I never thought of bobsled as, what's the sport where I can be really athletic for 3 to 4 seconds? Let me think about that one.
It's insane, Phil. Like we would, oh my God, the amount of prep that went into
oh my gosh, you're
a 3 to 4 second effort
ridiculous. Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it was insane.
The way we would train too, like where his training was so different than mine, where like just different energy systems, and he'd do a couple reps, heavy reps of some, and then the first time I saw him do it, I was dying laughing. He literally went to his watch and put his time on for like 12 minutes.
It wasn't 12 minutes, but it was probably like
7 to
5.
12 minutes. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, what's that for? He's like, I'm chilling.
Yeah,
I'm chilling.
I'm like, okay, you're right. I guess that's what you're doing. That's it.
That's I didn't have to do another thing for exactly 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, probably shouldn't.
I don't have that time
That's awesome.
anymore.
Yeah.
So what are the non-negotiables you've built into your relationship now? Like, what are the coming out of that career, or I mean, out of that schedule, as you said, that, that's kind of so dictated both by the season and by the day and by the career path.
Yeah.
What are the non-negotiables you're protecting today?
Just in terms of like lifestyle stuff, or
whatever it is. Yeah, for you, for either individually or together.
Yeah.
Like, what are the things? Because you're still driven.
Right.
I mean, you're still driven people,
Yeah.
right? Still goal oriented. That's very clear, you know.
I think
So what are the non-negotiables today?
I mean, like sleep is something that we've
we're
really
yeah.
tried hard to do, but
I haven't been doing great at that lately. But
yeah,
I think just
I
feel
need
like
sleep.
I think we're both just pretty aligned in like what we consider like a good healthy lifestyle, and so like that's a huge part of that is
Okay.
what we eat. Like, and so I remember when that
Yeah.
was one of the biggest things I noticed when I started seeing Zoe is like she eats so well, and like I didn't know, I would have said I ate well,
Here I
and
am
then it's like
drinking
yeah, don't
today. I know I've never had this. This is like the first time I've ever tried these.
just straight sugar. So
Yeah, don't judge me.
I guess like I would have said I knew how to eat well, but then when I saw how she
Yeah.
ate and like it just made such a difference, and especially now that like I'm not trying to just consume as many calories as possible,
Mhm.
I just feel way better. So I think our diet's something that's non-negotiable, and then just moving our bodies in one way or another every day if possible. Like if we don't at least go for a walk in a day, it's like it's not characteristic for us. So I would say those are two things that we it's like that's exercising's fun for us because we do it together, and it's like it's not something that we don't have to be selfish about it right now, and so that's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I think the movement every day. I think that's also like walking. I don't remember. I was listening to like a podcast recently, and it was like this year's fad is walking. Like people have rediscovered walking. But I mean, it is. I do think it's underrated. Like being able to go for a walk, not only is just like getting fresh air and like looking far and just having like just being able to move your body in a way that's like stress relieving, but we use that time to catch up and talk about whatever's going on, and I feel like it keeps that open communication with whatever's on our mind, whether it's work related or personal or about goals and just current events. But I think that's really been a healthy thing, like mentally and physically for us, and really really a good habit for our relationship and keeping that open communication too. But along the food line, I think being in Alaska, we have really, I grew up doing it and maybe a little bit different for him, but like I think you've adopted to just like the outdoor, like the lifestyle of like fishing and hunting, and that has really been something that I've appreciated so much after being 15 years not living in Alaska like full time, and then being back here and really taking advantage of what we have and being able to just many winters and many like years we, because of sport, haven't been able to always go hunting or fishing, but we're lucky to be able to make those things a priority now, and that's filled our freezer for the winter, and it's really helped us eat better and and just have the lifestyle that we enjoy doing because we've made those things a priority now too. Yeah.
When you think about other power couples, I mean, other folks where you've got two athletes or, whatever, two successful high performers, what are the things that they've not done that you two have been able to do?
I think just kind of broadly speaking, some couples I know that are like high profile, maybe they're athletes or something. I think if you bring your ego into the relationship and like the spotlight, say you're really succeeding as an athlete and like you kind of want to feel that love, and like I've seen it in many people. It's like if you pay more attention to the kind of the outside noise, it's going to ruin things in the middle. And so like the power couples, I would say that I've seen, really be successful. It's you just kind of check your ego at the door, and your relationship's something that should be separate of you and your ego. And
that's a really nice thing to say.
Yeah.
I feel like one thing that we don't, it's like it's this is probably a whole nother topic, but just in terms of social media and like,
Mhm.
I think we're still like active on social media at some level. You're really not anymore at all, but that doesn't really enter a lot of our personal life.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
Got it.
I don't feel like I need like kudos from anyone other on Strava. I do need kudos on
Except
Strava.
on Strava.
We do need Strava. That's
is
very
like-
clear.
Outside of that, I've never felt like I need like I don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't need the attention of like, hey, nice job on this that you've done.
Yeah.
You know? And I think
Yeah.
Zoe's, been like that too, that you don't necessarily need it. And like Zoe's got a pretty big social media following, and she's an attractive lady with at some point had quite a big profile, and I'm sure it would have been really easy to open the floodgates and be like, let me hear it, people.
Yeah.
And then I think, just some people are influenced by that in a way that it would interrupt the relationship.
Well, it's a tough balance, right? Because it's like it can be a platform for so many great things, and I've leveraged it for my own, businesses and that sort of thing too. So, I think it's just it's a balance, but I think that is something that has gotten in the way of in between a lot of relationships, and that I've noticed, and I feel like that's something that we haven't let.
Yeah, especially when you sprinkle some success in too. So it's like, a lot of the circle that I know are Olympians, and once every 4 years you get an opportunity to have the spotlight shone on you. And if you is shone the word shined. Sean.
Sounds good.
There's a light on you.
The light on you, and some people have that 15 minutes, and they're going to take it for everything it's worth. And I just, that's not us.
Yeah, leave that at the door. You've been able to leave that at the door
for sure.
Yeah,
and not expect it from the other person.
No, if anything, the opposite. It's like, hey, let's just keep talking about things that aren't that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Now, I will say, right, in fairness, we're talking about social media. If you do, obviously, we're doing a little bit of research before we record any show. If you type Zoe, your name, into an internet search bar, Zoe Hickel, the third entry that comes up is Zoe Hickel's husband. So you've got reflected glory, Cam. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank God.
Oh wait, was I not supposed to mention it was the other guy?
No,
no.
Philip, I Googled my name once, and it was something like, what is Cam Stone's salary? And it was like 11 something million. And I'm like, this isn't me, but I'll put this in my bio anyway, just so people.
That's right. I mean, this is going in Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's going in Wikipedia.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So now, how do you now define growth and success as a couple? Now that you're in this new phase, this new stage of your lives.
From coffee. My coffee's in the morning.
Do you say, how do you define growth
success.
and success?
And success.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you getting
as a couple?
Yeah, that's
success.
That's
that
success.
is a success
That's
for
a win
me.
every
That is
day.
a win every single day. For growth, 12 hugs a day.
Yeah.
Okay, 8 for
There we go.
maintenance. I need 12 for growth.
I hear that often.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
What does it look like now? I mean, obviously there's a component where, financially you want to see each other do well. And it's like, if we're both doing well, it's good for us. And it allows us to do the things that we want to do, whether that's travel, whether that's, fun items, whether it's buying road bikes and that kind of stuff, and trainers. And I think those are kind of not financials, not markers necessarily entirely for us, but it's like, how are we, if we're progressing as a couple and, we're welcoming another little guy into the mix here. And so seeing how that dynamic unfolds. And I think for us, it'll both be like a pretty good measure of, we've got this pretty lofty goal of doing a triathlon in December. And it's like, we're going to have to be very intentional about how we get there, because it's, we're going to have a whole new person in the mix. So I think just being, if we can stay on the kind of the track we're on right now, where it's like getting our training in early and like just being very mindful of our time and our time together, I think we'll be able to achieve those things. And yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think along the same lines of being able to do the things that we enjoy doing while entering a totally new phase. I think that is going to be a challenge, and we've heard we get lots of advice, so we get plenty of that. But our, just like reestablishing our goals of being able to still like be active and acknowledging that the routines and things might look a little different in how it happens, but we still want to enjoy the outdoors and be able to raise a kid in an environment where that's something that they're used to and they enjoy that. And just being good role models for our next little generation. So I think that is like that next phase, and being financially in a position where we can just feeling better, where it's not just so focused on us, but being able to set our future up in a way where we have some flexibility because we've built a solid foundation, and being able to provide that for another member to join the gang,
member of the family.
And be coming along with us as much as we can.
Exactly. But nothing is accidental with the two of you. I mean, you're very calm. You're not like aggressive about it, but you strike me as being very purposeful in everything, in all ways. Is that fair? Is that true?
I think so. Yeah. I think we kind of got together, had this like vision of what our next few years in our life could look like. And, so that largely revolved around getting through those first 4 years through the Olympics and through, we thought that was the same for Zoe, but like just kind of figuring out, okay, we know we want to end up in Alaska. And so we ended up in Alaska, and now it's like, all right, we want to get our feet under us financially. We want to get our careers under us, and all during that, we want to just like make sure we're still in good shape and like what we consider good shape. And I think that bar has been continuing to move.
Yeah.
Just like, loftier and loftier goals. And so I think, what does that look like down the road? I think it looks more or less the same as this, but like with another person in the picture, not a child, obviously not anything weird. It's a bad time to debut that idea.
That's right. Maybe not the moment to bring that conversation to the table, but that's
But I mean, so I think we definitely are purposeful, Philip, and and so that's kind of like, that's what excites me about our relationship, because I know we can do that together, and like I know it's going to be a challenge. We know it's going to be a challenge to do that over the next few months, but it excites me to be able to figure that out, and I know that we're going to. And I think when you just have that mindset where it's like, hey, one way or another, this is going to happen, and you don't leave like there's really no questioning about it. And so if things don't turn out that like we're ready to do this triathlon in December, which I've never said out loud because I don't think that's going to happen, but like we would just pivot and find another way to do that. But
find another way.
But all our decision making is kind of geared around that, and like it's, and I think that's something I really picked up from Zoe, and like being able to plan that far ahead, because I was just so. I would live so kind of like narrow-mindedly on like, I need to train tomorrow, and this is what I need to do to train tomorrow. And like the Olympics are 4 years from now, and there's stuff that has to happen in between there. And so,
I think it's having purpose and having goals are always a great thing. And then knowing that you have the support in that person, that, because not every day is great, like you're going to have days where you don't feel like it, and being able to have someone in your life, or, a partner that's like, that can recognize you for who you are, and know like, okay, like you need to, it's okay to just take a step back. Like, we don't want to
Mhm.
get sick, or, you can just tell
Mhm.
when someone like needs that support to be able to say like, it's okay. You don't have to push yourself like as much as you want to today or you need to, and just being able to like have that sounding board and someone who knows like that it's not just about being hard on each other and like pushing each other to like, if I'm up, you're up kind of thing. It's like, if anything, you're telling me to just like, or, it's nice to be able to have a good balance and being able to like have
Balance.
someone that knows you well to.
And someone who also can tell you when you are being soft and like,
Yeah.
hey, come on, let's go. Like we
and
can.
there's that too.
You're fine. You're not dying.
Exactly. It goes both ways. But
You're not dying. It goes both ways.
It
Yeah.
is nice to know that there's someone there that's like, that knows you better than you do sometimes, to just give you those reminders of.
Yeah. As long as you check the ego at the door.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
As long as you're not looking for that spotlight
Absolutely.
on you from. Yeah. All right. So rapid fire.
Ooh.
Ready? Quick hits. Between the two of you, so you're good at scheduling, good at having consistency, etc. Between the two of you, who's most likely to rework the plan at the last minute?
Probably me.
Probably you. You for sure.
He is very regimented.
Yeah.
This is someone who did 100 push-ups every day and increased his limit by another 10 every month and did not miss a single day. Like, not even a day. It's crazy.
Not a push-up.
Got it.
Not a push-up. Not one push-up.
Not a push-up.
No.
Not one push-up.
No.
one.
I will definitely
There we go.
fly a little more.
Yeah. If I
Got it.
if I like have set my mind to like, hey, this is what time this is happening, I have a really difficult time not doing that.
Yeah.
To a fault, probably.
Okay.
Okay, this is rapid fire.
Oh, sorry.
We
Okay.
can give them
All
quick
right.
hits.
Next.
Yeah.
No, that's good. No, that's good. All right. Board game night MVP. Who's the board game?
Oh, you.
Who's the board game ninja?
You're the chess master.
Yeah.
He loves chess.
Me.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of you is more likely to cry at a Pixar movie?
Probably me.
I don't know.
You don't think so? I cry up every time.
Yeah.
Every time and up.
Oh, and up. Yeah, you're right.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
Oh no! Up gets me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or those videos now, which is terrible, the pernicious effects of social media, right? Those videos with the hedgehog that's getting the little back rub with the toothbrush. I always get a little teary. It's so cute. Anyway.
Yeah, that'll
I mean, the little guy looks so happy. How can you not be joyful for him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Weirdest couple tradition that people wouldn't actually believe is real.
Oh gosh.
Ooh. We bench press together a lot and like seriously, and we get so fired up about it. Like it's, and we're not bodybuilders, but
we're
it's
not
like,
even like like good at benching. We
Yeah.
just love doing it. Well, you're good at it. I think it's so funny. We get a hard time from some of our friends. They're like, "Why do you guys like bench pressing so much?"
yeah, so weird.
It's just how we roll.
It's like you on the trap
all right,
bar.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's like me on the trap
it's
bar.
just like,
Exactly,
you
it's the
just
same
have-
thing. I
that's
don't know
just
why.
what it
It's
is.
just a thing.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. Yeah, that's it. All right, and then one weekly non-negotiable ritual that has kept the two of you together. What's the weekly ritual that we should follow?
Well, I mean, we pretty much every single morning I'll make Zoe coffee and then we go for a walk, and it's usually like it's a 1.2 mile walk, and I know that because we do it every single day, and that's that. We have been doing that forever, pretty much.
Yeah, that one's like probably the staple.
Yeah.
More so of a morning thing than a night thing, I guess.
In a night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a night routine for sure, but it's not like it's a little more flexible. Whereas the morning's kind of non-negotiable.
Yep.
Win the morning, win the day. That's key.
Totally.
I love that. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. So if people want, final question.
Mm-hmm.
Final question. Ripped this one off from Tim Ferriss. And in this case, you can have two billboards. But if you could have a billboard anywhere in the world with any message on it, where would you put it and what would it say?
If I could put a billboard anywhere in the world with any message, where would I put it and what would it say?
Oh my gosh, I feel like so overwhelmed by that question.
You know what the billboard I'm thinking about is, have you been to Ohio, Philip?
Oh my gosh, I'm not even kidding. I was thinking of
This
that.
isn't the one I would put, but have you seen the Hell is Real billboards
Oh, yeah.
all over Ohio?
Like on the way
Ohio, yeah.
south from Ohio
Yeah.
down.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh man, what would I put? It would have to be somewhere in. I feel like if the Toronto Maple Leafs won a championship, I would put their logo, my face, God, in whatever city they defeated.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, there we go.
But Phil, I'm going to
There
think
we
of a
go.
good one as soon as we end this. But
We'll post it in the show notes,
Okay.
I promise.
okay, what do you got?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't think of one.
I feel like
for
I'm like have so many things in my head, but like a real straight message. Like, do you want to be funny or do you want to be like
I know.
motivating or like is this coach?
Cam's got his face in the Stanley Cup in Chicago, so you can do whatever you want to do.
Eat that, Chicago.
We don't really have billboards in Alaska.
There aren't really billboards here, right?
No, I don't think we have billboards here. That's not the thing.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to think of something.
Well, I'm not good at this game, and I'm super pregnant.
That's what you
Can
could
I
put on the
blame it
billboard.
on that?
You could put that.
There we go.
Blame it on.
I'm not good at this game, and I'm super pregnant.
I'm super pregnant.
Give me a
Ladies,
break.
don't stress it. I'm just exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess I think of like quotes that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, you've been on one lately. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right.
You're
Yeah.
right.
That's good.
That one's a great one.
good.
I put that on my own front lawn just to remind myself.
One that's really stuck with me for years. Well, there's two. One is how you do anything is how you do everything. So just it's just trying to embrace the type of person and what you do and all aspects and just trying to live honestly through that. And then the other one is they don't know how much you know until they know how much you care. And that was a really
They don't care.
they don't care how much you know
Okay.
until they
You know.
know how much you care. And for me, that was a really big deal for just coaching, just because, like it's really about the people and being able to connect with them and get find what their strengths are, find their communication style and get the most out of that person that you can. And so when you're a coach, it's not about just your voice and what you're teaching for X's and O's. It's how can you apply that to the people that you work with or the people that you coach. And I feel like that's, with coaching, but in any aspects of your life, you can apply that one too.
Yeah. 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 How do you give them the message in the way that they understand?
Yeah.
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 What was your answer for that, Philip?
Yeah, Philip, I want to know yours.
Anyway, I don't know, but I've always liked, in a weird way, it's anywhere you go, there you are.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like you can you just choose it, so you are where you put yourself.
Right.
So, there you go.
Oh, I like that.
I probably think of something better than that, but
No, that was good.
No, that one's great.
Yeah, we like that one.
I really like that one.
I'd probably put a picture of the Blues Stanley Cup in the middle of Toronto somewhere.
Thank you.
Who won it more recently?
Oh.
That's
Yeah. You
Yeah.
had that opportunity.
of all the teams.
Yep.
That's right. Had the opportunity.
That hurts.
That's right. All right. So if people want to learn more about you, hear more from you, where do we go to find more about
That I'll send you that link
on the social?
with my salary, the $11 million one.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, exactly. The Wikipedia, the 11 million. We're going to crowdfund Cam's 11 million.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
man.
either,
Strava.
seriously, you want to
Strava. Find you on Strava.
Yes.
There we go.
Find me on Strava. I'm on Instagram, Tombstones, and then I have a Wikipedia page. I don't run it, so anything on there is it's not for me.
Oh gosh.
How about you?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm on social media, it's on Instagram. I don't have TikTok or
On
anything yet.
Perfect.
Yeah, at Zickel. Ziickel.
Okay.
Kel. Yeah.
That's right.
Is that what it
Yes,
is?
That's your name.
It's got 2 eyes? Okay. Yeah, I like Strava too. But
Strava, I find, is the best. It's social media at its best, because it's people getting active, encouraging other people to be active. And it's like, I'm motivated to work out sometimes just so I can post it on Strava.
yeah.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
No shame saying it.
That's right. I mean, so in fairness, if you're watching or listening to this, my wife and I had breakfast with Cam and Zoe, what, a week ago? It was a week ago. And I confessed to Cam that I post stuff on Strava and I wait for Cam to say thumbs up. Good job. I got the follow.
That.
I said, and I stare at the screen like a 13-year-old. Hey, I wonder if Cam's on Strava. Bing.
Boom,
Yep.
And
You are a good kudosman.
Oh, well, see,
that's right. He's an excellent kudosman.
Yeah, I love it. Every bit of it. I'm gonna get on Strava. Look for my Strava in the next hour. I'm gonna go run.
There we go. I'm gonna go do 3 to 4 seconds worth of heavy weightlifting. So I will definitely.
Perfect. Yeah, Strava's not as fun for those workouts. For my former life. Now it's like I can do segments and stuff, and it's fun.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cam, so it's been an absolute privilege. It's been a ball, and I look forward to episode 2 where we get to hear how your triathlon goes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Philip.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Great
guys.
talking.
Take care. Be safe. Be well. We'll talk soon. Hey, thank you for watching. Be sure to check out some of our other conversations here. And do remember to grab the model from this conversation. There will be a link in the comments below. And if you've not done so, like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us out a lot. Until next time.